What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Remy LeBeau here once again in the X-Layer to help you get through yet another day with your X-Men statue withdrawal syndrome. It's been a difficult time for you uh, since the last video you watched, so I'm here to help you get through the next few days by providing you with what you need, which is like some in-depth analysis on the comparative value between one Cyclops statue and another Cyclops statue. I know you've been yearning for this sort of analysis. I'm here to provide it for you. So today we're looking at two very familiar statues. This is the modern Cyclops statue by Bowen Designs. It's Cyclops in his astonishing X-Men outfit. This is the outfit that he first appeared in Astonishing X-Men Volume 2, written by Joss Whedon, drawn by John Cassaday. This was like in 2004-ish, I believe. Um, Over here, we've got Cyclops in his X-Factor outfit. X-Factor started in the 1980s. It was essentially the first time that the original five X-Men were back together on their own, in their own book. It was the point at which Jean Grey was brought back to life and included, with Beast and Archangel and Iceman and, of course, Cyclops. And it was a really cool run. I enjoyed it. I know there's a lot of fans that enjoyed it, and apparently Bowen Designs felt that it was important enough to put out an entire set of these statues, which you have probably already seen. Finally, if you include the Archangel statue that Bowen Designs made, the complete X Factor set has been released by Bowen Designs. And this is the second statue that was released in that set. It is the X Factor Cyclops statue. You probably already know this, and you probably can notice it from just viewing them here. These are actually variants of each other. Both of them were sculpted by Jason Smith digitally, and you can see that, there's just one main difference, and that's the pose. They're pretty much like mirror image poses, and the only big difference is the position of this hand here. So the left hand for X Factor Cyclops, the right hand for modern Cyclops. Modern Cyclops has his hand up to his visor. He's about to shoot, and X Factor Cyclops is basically just pointing, basically directing the team to attack. It's a nice little sort of like nuanced difference between the two statues. Beyond them just having completely different costumes, it's a really great choice that Bowen Designs made to just kind of make it that much more different and unique for each to have these separate poses, so that it doesn't feel like you're just getting like different painted versions of the same statue. So kudos to Bowen Designs for that. So this is a showdown video. We're going to try to figure out which statue is better. This is going to be a very difficult decision for me, for you, because really they're both great. Like first of all, you either hate or love this sculpt. A lot of people just automatically write it off because it's a digital sculpt, and they feel that digital sculpting doesn't quite have the amount of detail and the richness that you would get from a traditional sculpt. People feel that way. They have a right to feel that way. I don't feel that's the case. I think that digital sculptors have a different set of tools to create with, but I think the same amount of love is put into each piece that they do, at least the ones that do it professionally. So for me, it doesn't really matter if a statue is done traditionally or digitally, as long as I like the final product. And I definitely like the final product here. So if you put aside the digital thing, one of the main characteristics that is going to either make one more appealing than the other is going to be the time period in which they represent. For me, I like both time periods. I really like the X Factor time period, and I really like the Astonishing time period. So as far as just like the visceral value that each statue relays, that relates to those time periods, for me, like, it's equivalent. So I can't really say that one is better than the other on that dimension. Of course, some of you may just like aesthetically the costume design for one period versus another, not necessarily reflecting the stories or kind of like the whatever connection you might have to that particular time period, but just based on the look of the costume. But I mean, really, I mean, at least for me, I mean, the costumes look great. They each have a very unique flair to them that sets them apart from each other, of course, but also it has great like sort of design value. I love the big X design on the X Factor uniforms. I think it's fantastic. I think it's like a great uh, way to incorporate the X into the costume in just a way that's not just like an emblem on a costume. So for that reason alone, like the X Factor statue is just super impressive. It's just a great costume. Some people don't like it. I guess in part it has to do with like how connected they are to like that time period. You might get new readers that never read X Factor and maybe started during the astonishing period and just never really connected with the character, and so that somehow informs their decision on how they value the aesthetic design of the actual costumes. That's just me speculating on why they wouldn't like this particular costume for him or for the rest of X Factor, the X costume. Because really, just I don't know. I just really couldn't find any reason why it wouldn't be a likable costume. I love it. I'm sure, and I know a lot of you all love it as well because it's just a great design. The Astonishing costume is great. It's like so this comes after the Jim Lee era. It comes after the Grant Morrison era, where the X Men just kind of start wearing like leather jackets and whatnot, and just like T-shirts, just kind of trying to sort of ground the costume designs in more of sort of realistic style. Joss Whedon came in. And he's like, we need superhero costumes again. So this is an attempt to sort of bring back sort of the superhero style of Cyclops' costume, make it a throwback to the original one of the original costumes, which I would say this is most closely related to like the second version of Cyclops, which you could see in my retro Cyclops statue. It's the costume he had in Giant Size X Men. It's the costume he had in the Dark Phoenix saga. This is kind of like a throwback to that, but it's got its unique elements that kind of set it apart. It basically brings back the superhero element of the design and also just kind of modernizes it and makes it cool. Um, so it's just, I mean, there's just a lot of merit to the overall design. So it's just, I couldn't say that I like this design any less than I like the X Factor design. I like it. I like it equally because there was like a lot of thought put into this redesign. It wasn't just like an arbitrary redesign meant to sort of just delineate one time period from another and just really having no basis, uh, like no basis like within the stories or just within the overall sort of like the the evolution of the character design, like having like a solid reason for it. And I've already specified the solid reason for this one was to kind of take it back to what it was, but also move it forward and make it superhero again. So a lot of value here on this design. Really like it a lot. So can't say I like this design better than I like this design. The sculpts, obviously, like I said, they're digitally sculpted. They're pretty much identical. The hands are different. The faces are pretty much the same. The visors are a little different. Obviously, they just reflect the design of the character as it's meant to be reflective of the era that it exists in. So I don't know. Like both visors, um, paint jobs. Paint jobs are great on both. I really like the blue, like kind of like the metallic blue color that they chose for the base. More than I like the solid, sort of kind of matte silver that they chose for the base for the modern statue. Um, I think just given the overall color scheme of this statue with the blue and and the white being sort of the predominant colors throughout the entire piece. Um, the base being like this metallic, also kind of blue color that sort of complements the rest of the blue. Um, it just makes it like an overall not great presentation from the top of the statue to the base. Here, you get a nice sort of contrast between the base and the rest of the statue, but I kind of feel like there's a sort of a disconnect between the base and the rest of the statue that is enough to sort of kind of maybe give it a red mark as far as like the valuation of this statue versus this one. So that might actually be the defining factor here. The defining factor may actually be the color of the base, but it's just such a small detail. It's like splitting hairs at this point. Like, I mean, really, like in the end, they both look great. This statue looks great, but if the base had been a little bit better, like at least giving the cutouts of the X a different color, just that matches sort of the colors in the statue, maybe that might have made it a little bit more interesting, but not a big deal. I don't want to dwell on it. Definitely doesn't detract from the overall value of the statue. So the bases are fine. The colors on the rest of the statue are as they should be. I really like that on this one they kind of chose like glossy white for the white parts and then like this glossy blue for the rest of it. They're great choices. Like, I mean, it's such a simple statue and there isn't that much color to it, so you could have easily just made a matte, a matte white and a matte blue, or have one be glossy, the other one be matte. But they decided to go glossy all the way, and I think that was a good move because there isn't much to the paint job, so it just kind of brings out like the sort of the contrast between the two color elements throughout the costume more by having like this glossy color. So that was really a great choice. I'm just basically going through and highlighting what's positive about both of them. There's really no basis for saying that one's better than the other, except for maybe the base. Except for maybe the base, which is ironic because the base is going to be the basis. On this one, I really love that they kind of use this metallic sort of blue, like kind of aqua blue, like dark aqua blue for the costume. They could have gone with a matte, also like a matte sort of color for the costume, and it would have been fine. But obviously they realized, by giving it that little bit of extra flair, like it really brought out the sort of the overall the impressiveness of the sculpt, the nuances of the musculature that they obviously paid a lot of attention to, and just kind of made it, kind of larger than life, which is what you want from these superhero statues, especially the X-Men. The X-Men are just so larger than life, so it's good to give them that extra sort of quality that will, bring you out of like the norm and kind of take you into the fantastic, which is where they exist, right? So great job on Bowen's part on choosing the metallic paint for this statue, and then they also did metallic paint for the gold as well, the gold trim that's like throughout the lines that go throughout the costume and the lining of the boots, and of course the belt and the belt buckle. A lot of great choices made on both of these statues as far as like the particular paints that were chosen. So great job. Both are great. Which one's better? I don't think one is better than the other, but let's keep going here. I think I'm pretty much done, actually. I don't think there's anything else to comment on. Like, they're both great statues. They both look fantastic. So ultimately, this is what it's going to come down to. And I'm not going to make a determination for you. The purpose of a showdown is to figure out which one's better, not for me, but really for you. If you are looking to get a Cyclops statue and you have narrowed it down to Astonishing Cyclops versus X Factor Cyclops, something's going to have to be the determining factor for you. Based on the overall design and the sculpt, it's going to be very difficult for you to make that decision. So ultimately what it's going to come down to is like, what are your intentions for these statues? Like, Are you ultimately looking to make full sets of particular eras? Because uh, for X Factor, like I said, like Bowen Designs finally completed their X Factor set. So if you're looking for that set, the complete set, then I mean definitely this is the statue to get because you need a leader for X Factor. You need Cyclops. If you're looking to make kind of like a modern themed display or like a modern themed group of statues that you're looking to collect, obviously this is a statue to get. The astonishing modern version of Cyclops is the statue to get. Um, if you're looking for like a Cyclops statue, obviously it's going to ultimately depend on which Cyclops you feel closest to as far as like your own fandom. Like where does your sort of fan heart lie? Like how connected are you to one particular era versus another? If you're connected to both eras, then you know it's I can't I can't really help you anymore because if you're connected to both eras and there really isn't one thing that's pulling you personally towards one statue versus another, then I'm gonna say flip a coin. I think that's ultimately going to be your best option is just to grab a coin and flip it and just go with whatever that decision is. There is actually one factor that might be sort of important to the decision that I forgot to mention, which is the edition size. Okay, so the edition size on this one is 328. So there are only 328 X Factor Cyclops statues. And for this one, I'm pretty sure that there are oh no, there's 700. So there's 700 of this guy over here. So there's more modern, astonishing Cyclops statues out there. That might mean that this statue is, in the long run, going to be more available or, at the very least, less expensive than this statue. Right now, it's roughly we're getting toward, it's like fall of 2013. This statue here has been out a couple of years, and some online retailers still have him in stock. So for whatever reason, people have not jumped on the bandwagon of this statue completely yet. And in part, I think it's because people just were on the fence about making the entire X Factor set. I know that given a little more time, this statue will eventually become hard to find because there are so few of them. And once they stop being available and people start realizing how great this statue is and how worth it is to have it, that demand is going to outweigh supply, and that's going to drive the price up. So in the long run, I'm saying 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I think this one will be easier to find than this one. So in the end, you might be watching this video in 2023, and if that's the case, and you're trying to figure out which statue to get, you'll probably have more luck finding this statue. But right now in 2013, I think you guys are safe enough that if you, regardless of which one you choose to get, they'll both be fairly accessible and they'll both be fairly well priced in the secondary market, or even in the first market, the primary market, because like I said, this one's still available in some online retailers, and this one might also be available on some online retailers. Alright folks, that is it for this Showdown video. Obviously there is a very sort of obscure final decision here. Like, it's not completely clear which one's better based on just grading them on a variety of criteria. Ultimately they're both great. I love them both. If you can get them both, get them both. They're fantastic statues. Love them both. Love having them both. If I'm ever at the point where I have to get rid of my statue collection for whatever reason, I'm sure that'll never happen. But if it were to happen, these would be some of the last ones I would. Now these are some that I think I would keep because whereas I would get rid of a lot of other stuff. But these are some of the ones I would keep because I think they're just really well done. Cyclops, great character. One of my favorite characters, the leader of the X-Men. I love seeing him represented in such a great form in different eras, and that's what Bone Design did here. They represented him in perfect form in two great eras for the X-Men, for the characters. So they're just great statues, so I love them. And that's going to be my final word on that. Alright folks, thank you so much for checking out my video, my statue showdown video. I've got plenty more stuff on my YouTube channel. That's Dr. Remy LeBeau's X-Layer. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. If you're interested in keeping up on updates in regards to not only like the extra stuff that I put up, such as like the showdown videos, but also, just on videos of the new material that I get in, the new statues, and also on the catalog of statues that I have in my collection that I have yet to put online. So if you're interested in checking out more stuff, subscribe, folks. If you are interested in seeing like photos of the various video subjects that I post on my channel, you can click on the blog post link. So right now there should be a blog post link right here, and if you click on that, it'll take you to the blog post that has some photos of these two guys together. It also has links to their individual posts, so you can see photos that close-ups of each statue. If you're looking just to get a really close look at the statues and the various attributes that they wield so beautifully. And that is my blog. In case you just want to know the name of the blog, it is X-Men Statues of Future Past.blogspot.com. And just one last thing, this is really important. If there's a box somewhere and you're looking to put something in it, I would suggest you put an X in it, because ain't nobody checking me, folks. Ain't nobody checking me. Well, thank you once again, and take care, and I will see you all very soon. Bye-bye.